It's that time here again on the channel. Thank you for tuning in for our series Friday Night Meta weekly series here on the channel. We do have some changes, which is exciting when it comes to the new meta, particularly post-ban hammer here now, which has been over a week, and a reset restart again over a week for June. Thank you for tuning in. As always, down below you'll find the timestamps where we talk about the latest and greatest across each of the formats, best of one, best of three, break those things down for you in the episode, and then pull it all back together. Thank you, like I said, for tuning in, and if you have a question or comment throughout, let me know down below, or feel free to come swing by the Discord server and say hi to the community there as well. All right, so here's what we got going on. Like I said, standard best of one. We've had a little bit more time now in terms of what's going on. A few people starting to plug into Mythic. Generally around the mid-month is kind of where we start to kind of get past that curve where there tends to be a good amount of data in that space. However, and with that said, right now we do feel a few changes here in standard best of one. A couple of the biggest ones that I would talk about really is that Azor's control popping in here at that 52%. It hasn't been something really in the space for a while. This is really about the resets that you're getting with Sunfall and a host of other things as well in order to achieve success there. At the top end here, we continue to see things moving around a little bit. Mono white humans getting a little bit more of a space on Azor soldiers. Those two really have been battling it out back and forth for some time. Everything else kind of beginning to and continuing to cement itself here in the best of one meta. Now, as we look down below here, you can see some of those things trending. Selesnya enchantments falling off a little bit. We see that mono red aggro coming up, burn falling off. Again, Azor's control moving on up in terms of play, and mono blue tempo, similar style. Now, when we get down here to the win rate over time, again, we'd seen that really closeness here between soldiers really tight here at the beginning and then falling off, mono white solidifying itself, Selesnya enchantments falling, and then again we begin to see, like I said, that Azor's control popping in there, and also 5-color domain doing a little bit better in terms of those win rates for the meta and standard best of one. We'll go ahead now and look at our best of three. In terms of best of three, here's what we got going on. Mono red aggro at the top of the list here, followed by mono white humans, dimmer legends, dimmer midrange, 5-color domain, Selesnya enchantments, Azor's control, and Esper control in there. Lots of pressure, as we can see that 5-color domain coming down. We also see that Esper Legends popping back up with that reset, mainly clearing out a lot of key cards for some of the key decks. We see Azor's control getting more popular. We see that Esper control getting more popular. Again, while some of those other decks begin to pull down, and mono white humans getting a little bit better there too. Over time, and that's in terms of popularity, and over time here, we see that mono red beginning to really outpace everything else. Esper Legends in there. And again, if we think about best of one, and we go back up to here, Esper Legends is still used to be a key piece in best of one, but obviously mono red has done well in that space, and we're kind of starting to see that pull over as well into the best of three. And then that dimmer mid-range just doing really well there. Ran into a lot of those decks this week as well. If you've checked out some of the other videos and the decks that we've showcased. So that is standard best of three. Let's pull back and go over to Alchemy. Here's what we got going on in Alchemy. 5-color reanimator at the top, and a host of other things here. We got control, sacrifice, and aggro. So I'd say mono red aggro again being more popular, less pulling off there, but certainly falling in terms of what's happening here at the reset and the restart. We got that 5-color reanimator starting to do very well. Again, we saw that switch going on here, and a few other things starting to bounce around, as you can see, like mono blue tempo, dimmer oracle, and a host of other things there in terms of best of one. Now, when we move to best of three, we got a couple decks. Grixis midrange still in there, 5-color reanimator, and then that mono red aggro. I'd say 5-color reanimator really starting to step into the space. All right, now let's take a look at historic. We're going to have some changes in this here soon, in particular, along with Alchemy when it comes to Lord of the Rings. Yeah, Lord of the Rings is legendary. I'll leave it at that. With that, and these two potential shakeups here coming soon, so just wanted to call that out. But here we got Boros Affinity, Is It Wizards, Azor's Control, Mono Green Elves, Rakdos Midrange, 5-color Reanimator, Dimmer Mill being in there too, and that's a really fun deck. I like that one anyway. Boros Affinity really popping off here in terms of win rate and what's happening, as you can see right out of the gate here, which is good to see if you like that. And then here again, Is It Wizards kind of coming down in terms of popularity, and then not as dominant, along with that Esper Affinity too, in terms of that best of one here for historic. Now, as we move to best of 3, we see 5-color Reanimator, Rakdos Midrange, 4-color Kethis, making a little bit more of attraction here. We'll look at that here in a second. Is It Wizards, Gruul Goblins, Mono Green Devotion, Azor's Control, and then Jund Midrange. Here in terms of that popularity, we see that Mono Green popping back up. We see Rakdos falling down. 5-color Reanimator, we do see 4-color Kethis here popping in and moving around. Used to be a little bit more popular. Sorry, where are you, Kethis? Uh-oh, I'm losing you. Oh, it's that dark green. There it is. Okay, becoming more popular there as well, and you can see it kind of skating in there. And then here, when we look at the win rates, here's what we got going on. Again, everything getting a little bit tighter. Is It Wizards not doing as good? 5-color Reanimator getting stronger. We see mid-range getting a little bit better as well. And that 4-color Kethis doing the same thing, creeping up there. While we got everything else in that space, as you can see. So pretty interesting in terms of what's going on in historic best of 3. We'll keep an eye on these things as these new sets start to come out here. Next of our last best of 1 and best of 3 format, we have Explorer for this week. Here's what we got. Mono White Humans, Legend Angels, Abzan Greasefang, Mono Red Aggro, Azor's Control, Mono Green Devotion, Boros Convoke, Rakdos Midrange, and then on the right, you can see pretty tight still, between almost 4 and 10% in terms of popularity. Again, we see that kind of conversion happening, like I just said. And then on the win rates, a little bit moving around here. Mono White making a last minute pop. Obviously, it started stronger. Azor's Control kind of being the real loser there in terms of what's happened, falling off. Then we see Abzan Greasefang get more popular, those kinds of things as well. And a little bit of a peakage here in terms of some of that Boros Convoke and those things like that. Let's look at best of 3. Best of 3, here's what we got going on. Abzan Greasefang at the top, 5-color fires, Mono Green Devotion, Gruul Vehicles, Rakdos Sacrifice, followed by Midrange there, Mono White Humans, and Azor's Control. Really dominated by Rakdos Midrange and Mono Green Devotion, and you can see that here. We do see that Gruul Vehicles getting more popular. We also see Rakdos Sacrifice getting more popular. Everything else kind of maintaining there. In terms of what's happening, and then in terms of our win rates, here's what we got going on. Gruul Vehicles definitely popping there for part. We see 5-color fires falling down, but getting a little bit better here towards the end. And then Mono Green Devotion kind of going be a little bit more steady Eddie in terms of upward momentum. Azor's Control falling off, and then that Mono White Humans also falling off a little bit in terms of win rates. So now we got our last format here, Historic Brawl. Here's what we got. Ragavan still there, tightly knit with Atraxa. Rusko, we got the first sliver back in there. Emoti, Itali, Zimoni, and Dinah. That's a new one. And then another Atraxa. So here you can see again some of the popularity of what's happening here on the right. The Itali again getting still very popular in terms of play, not to the Rusko level, but here you see that Atraxa, Ragavan, like we talked about, switching over back and forth, highly competitive there. Rusko getting a little bit more popular and then falling down. And then here you got Narset popping in. And our friend there, Zimone and Dina, like I said, doing a little bit better there. And as you can see, is really down here. Certainly probably some tweaks with the Aftermath update, maybe enhancing the gameplay there in terms of that deck. Ooh, so that is a lot for this week in terms of coverage. We got through all the best of 1 and best of 3 of each of the formats. We've talked about some of the key pieces here going into the new month, some of the changes here in best of 1 in particular, best of 3 as well. When it comes to the Banhammer and those things, some changes in Alchemy, things to keep an eye out for as we move into some of the new set releases that I'm certainly excited for, being a Lord of the Rings fan myself, or should I say Legends, if you got that haven't stayed for the whole episode. But the reality is a lot going on, which is great. So thank you for tuning in. As always, questions, comments, let me know down below or swing by the Discord server. Appreciate the likes and the subs as we continue to grow this amazing community here. And with that, lastly, I just want to say thank you to all the members as always. So with that, we got a ton of Magic the Gathering content here available to you on the channel. So and more coming as always. So thank you for tuning in. Like I said, enjoy. We got a lot more headed your way always. And until next time, Mythras out of here.